Howdy, and welcome to Aggieland. My name is Suzanne, your host for today's program, a very special edition of Who Wants to Be a Healthy Aggie, the game show that brings you fun, excitement, and a little bit of wellness knowledge. Today's contestant is an incoming student here at Texas A&M, all the way from out of state. Let's welcome Skylar.
Thanks, Suzanne, or should I call you Regis? I'm happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you, Skylar, because, oh my gosh, you're like about to embark upon a super exciting time in life. You're gonna move to Aggieland, you're gonna get ready for football season, you're gonna take all those classes and ace them, right? And you know what? You're gonna need to make sure that you take care of your well-being. That's something that's really important to your academic success, because when you feel better, you do better. You're motivated to pursue those educational goals, you can stay focused in class, and just have an overall really great time in Aggieland. And it's really important to us here that Aggies take care of one another.
Wow, Suzanne, Aggies helping other Aggies be the healthiest versions of themselves? I'm excited to learn more.
Great, I'm excited to help you learn more. We just have one quick reminder for you and all of those in our audience that as an incoming student, you are required to take the sexual assault prevention training for undergraduate students online. You can access it through the Student Life tab in your Howdy portal or via your TAMU email address that will come from the Dean of Student Life. Okay, Skylar, let's get into some questions here. Talk about some wellness. So here's what you're up against today. You'll have 15 questions with money values ranging from $100 to $1 million. And every correct answer will move you further along to that top prize. Remember though, you can always walk away with the money you've earned up to that point. But if you get an answer wrong, you lose everything. And you're gonna have 3 lifelines. Phone a friend, 50-50, which will eliminate 2 wrong answers from the board, and poll the audience. Are you ready?
I'm so ready. Let's go.
All right, let's play Who Wants to Be a Healthy Aggie? Good luck, Skylar. We're gonna start with a lightning round to get you warmed up. First question for $100. What is Texas A&M's official mascot? A, Tiger, B, 12th man, C, Aggie, or D, Reveille?
That's easy. It's my girl, Reveille. The answer is D, Reveille. Final answer.
You are correct. Okay, next question for $200. Where is Texas A&M University located? A, Aggieland, Texas, B, Houston, Texas, C, College Station, Texas, or D, Austin, Texas?
We all know that Texas A&M is located in none other than College Station, Texas. The answer is C, College Station, Texas. Final answer.
Skylar, that is correct. Your next question for $300. What are the official school colors of Texas A&M? A, red and white, B, navy blue and white, C, purple and white, or D, maroon and white?
Duh, maroon and white. D, final answer.
You are correct again. For $500, who is the highest ranking officer of the Corps of Cadets? A, Reveille, B, the 12th man, C, Michael K. Young, or D, the Commandant?
It's Miss Rev. A is my final answer.
You're correct again. Miss Rev is the highest ranking member of the Corps of Cadets. She is one special pup. Whew, that was quite the lightning round, Skylar. It gave us a great primer on A&M. But let's get into some wellness now. Are you ready to move on?
Yeah, bring it on.
Okay, your first question for $1,000. Research indicates that lack of sleep is associated with a lower GPA. Which of the following is one way to get enough quality sleep? A, make a sleep schedule, B, take lots of long naps, C, pull an all-nighter, or D, sleep with the TV on?
Wow. Okay, pretty sure I know this answer. So I'm really bad about this, but I know that looking at screens too close to bedtime disrupts sleep. So D is definitely not the answer. And with option C, well, the question asks how to get quality sleep. And if you're staying awake all night to study, that's not gonna happen. So I'm left with A or B. Man, naps feel so good sometimes, but I'm not sure. You know what, Suzanne? I think I'm gonna go with A. Make a sleep schedule.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, final answer.
Skylar, you're right. The answer is A, make a sleep schedule. A lot of us get hung up on the idea that naps can make up for lost sleep, but they really can't. And it's actually recommended that we get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. And one of the best ways to make sure that we get good sleep during those hours is to go to bed and wake up around the same time every day. And a lot of students we're tempted to pull all-nighters, but research actually shows that this can harm your academic performance. So choosing sleep over studying can actually help you do better, because when you sleep, your brain actually consolidates information, it regenerates, and you'll actually remember what you studied and perform better. All right, let's get to our next question for $2,000. A recent survey of Texas A&M students found that 44% of Aggies feel that stress negatively impacts their academic success. I mean, stress is bound to pop up for all of us once in a while, right? Which of the following is not an ideal way to manage stress? A, join an intramural team. B, binge drink. C, use a planner. Or D, visit counseling and psychological services, or CAPS.
Okay, let's start at the bottom. Visiting CAPS, or counseling and psychological services, is a great way to deal with stress. They can provide counseling and resources to help students combat stress, so that's a good thing. Use a planner, sounds pretty legit. Binge drink? I mean, while folks may choose to drink to deal with their stress, that's not a good idea. Leads to all kinds of negative consequences. So that's probably the answer, because joining an intramural team does sound like a great way to relieve stress through physical activity. So my answer is B, final answer.
Skylar, you're correct again. Binge drinking is not a great idea to manage your stress. It's best to start thinking now about how you deal with stress, so that way you can figure out how that's going to work out when you begin classes in the fall. Maybe you need to start setting up your planner now, like with important due dates and things like that. Maybe you join that intramural team and you stay active, because, I mean, it improved your overall health too. And make sure that you remember to seek resources like CAPS when you're struggling. Skylar, how do you like to manage stress to stay academically successful?
Well, Suzanne, I love to dance.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. You know, it's so important to bring joy to your life, especially when it comes to managing stress. So I'm so impressed. All right, let's switch gears a little bit and get to your next question for $4,000. Which of the following does not contribute to a healthy sleep environment? A, dimming the lights before bed. B, setting the thermostat to 80 degrees. C, reducing background noise. Or D, getting new pillows every 1 to 2 years.
I don't know about you, but 80 degrees sounds a bit warm to me. I think I'd be sweating all night. But I'm also not sure about how often you're supposed to get new pillows. Suzanne, I think I'm gonna go with B, because I can't imagine sleeping with my thermostat on 80 degrees during the summer. And I know I'm not the only person that sleeps better with the temperature in the 60s. So I'm gonna go with B. Final answer.
All right, you know what, Skylar, you're correct. The answer is B. According to the National Sleep Foundation, sleeping in a cool room between about 60 and 67 degrees makes for the best sleep.
Okay, I don't know if you know this, but we live in Texas. The temperatures in August and September, they're in the 3 digits.
That's true.
So if we can't keep our apartment at 67 degrees, what are some other things we can do to help with our sleep environment?
You know, that's a great question, Skylar. So sweat and skin cells actually accumulate while we sleep. So that's one reason why it's important to replace your pillows every 1 to 2 years, or at least wash them every several months, as well as washing your sheets at least every other week. And then other things like reducing background noise and getting blackout curtains, turning the lights down about an hour before bed, and also reducing your screen use at least 30 minutes before bed. All of those things can cue your brain into recognizing that it's time to wind down and go to sleep. All right, are you ready to move on to the next round?
Yes, Suzanne, let's do it.
All right, here we go. Here in Texas, we have something called the 911 Lifeline Law. This law grants immunity from alcohol-related charges to the first person who seeks emergency medical help for someone who might have alcohol poisoning. For $8,000, which of the following is not true about the 911 Lifeline Law? A, you must accompany the victim to the hospital. B, you must remain on the scene. C, you must cooperate with medical or law enforcement personnel. Or D, you must be the first to call.
Wow, I didn't know we had this law. Well, in a situation like that, it probably is a good idea to cooperate with first responders, so I don't think C is the answer. It also makes sense that you would need to stick around to provide information, so I don't think B is the answer either. So that would leave me with accompanying the victim to the hospital or being the first to call.
And I gave you a little bit of hint on that one.
Yeah, Suzanne, I think I'm gonna go with A. I mean, what if I don't even know that person? I just could tell they needed help. Yeah, I'm gonna go with A. Final answer.
Skylar, you guessed correctly. You are not required to accompany the victim to the hospital under the 911 Lifeline law.
There's a lot of provisions to that law.
Yep. It also only applies to alcohol-related Class C misdemeanors, like an MIP, which is a minor in possession, or Class A misdemeanors, which is providing alcohol to a minor. And it also doesn't protect you against drug-related charges. But the ultimate goal of the law, though, is to make sure that we get medical attention for someone who might have alcohol poisoning, regardless of whether or not you or whoever that first caller is might be intoxicated themselves. Because remember, Aggies take care of other Aggies, so these are all really good things to keep in mind. All right, now our next question for $16,000. Within the last 30 days, how often did most students at Texas A&M report using alcohol, that is beer, wine, or hard liquor? A, 1 to 9 days, B, 10 to 29 days, C, all 30 days, or D, have used but not in the last 30 days?
This is a tough one. I'm really not sure. I think I'm gonna have to use a lifeline for this question.
All right, no problem. You have all 3 lifelines available. Which one would you like to use now?
I would like to poll our wonderful audience.
All right, great. Let's get some audience input here. So if you'll pick up your polling devices. Aggies, how many times in the last month did you use any of the 3 types of alcohol? 1 to 9 days, 10 to 29 days, all 30 days, or have used in the past but not in the last 30 days? All right, and here are our results. Whew, look at that distribution. Now, Skylar, with this audience input, what's your answer?
Well, it looks like most of the audience went with A. That wouldn't have been my first answer. I would think students would drink way more. But I trust the audience. So I'm gonna go with A, 1 to 9 days, final answer.
Skylar, you're correct. Most students did report only drinking 1 to 9 days in the last month. But sometimes because of movies and TV shows, we tend to think that college students are consuming alcohol at way higher rates than they actually are. Research in this current poll tells us that students really aren't drinking as much or as often as we usually assume. All right, here we are with our next question, Skylar, for $32,000. Which of the following is not a sign of alcohol poisoning? A, unconsciousness, B, cold, clammy skin, C, rapid heartbeat, or D, poor awareness of surroundings?
Okay, let's see. Poor awareness of surroundings. That could apply to any level of intoxication. But is it a sign of alcohol poisoning? Cold, clammy skin sounds like that person might be sick, not just that they drank too much. Oh my gosh, all of these sound like they could be signs of alcohol poisoning. I'm trying to remember if I've heard this information before.
Now remember, Skylar, you do have 2 lifelines left, the 50-50 and phone a friend, but you also still have a handful of questions left.
Right. Let me think. Okay, Suzanne, I'd like to use my 50-50 lifeline.
Okay, let's eliminate 2 answers from the board. All right, we've eliminated those 2 answers, so now you're left with B, cold, clammy skin, and C, rapid heartbeat. What's it gonna be, Skylar?
Wow, okay. Well, I feel pretty confident that cold, clammy skin is a sign of alcohol poisoning. So, Suzanne, I'm gonna have to go with C. Rapid heartbeat is not a sign of alcohol poisoning. Final answer.
Skylar, you're correct again. That 50-50 lifeline really paid off for you. A rapid heartbeat usually isn't a sign of alcohol poisoning, but those other things, cold, clammy skin, poor awareness of surroundings, and unconsciousness, those are all signs of a serious medical emergency. Other symptoms of alcohol poisoning can include things like slowed breathing or vomiting while unconscious, and all those types of things. But it's important to remember that this is not a checklist. So if you see any of these signs in someone, it's important to call 911 for medical assistance right away.
Wow, Suzanne. It seems that Aggies taking care of Aggies really is important here in Aggieland.
Yep, it really is. It's one of those things that makes Aggieland so special. All right, let's continue to your next question. Skylar, you're up to $64,000. All right, which of the following should you not do when caring for an intoxicated friend? A, induce vomiting, B, give them water, C, keep them warm, or D, the Bacchus maneuver?
Oh man, I mean, I bet many of us have been there or heard of someone having to take care of someone because they drank too much after a long night out. Inducing vomiting sounds miserable. I'm not sure that's the right answer. Giving them water sounds like it'd probably be a good idea with dehydration and all. Keeping them warm, I'm not sure. In Texas, it's hot enough. Bacchus maneuver, I don't know. Is that a good thing? Is that a new dance move? Suzanne, I'm gonna have to go with A. Don't make people throw up. Final answer.
You're right. It is not a good idea to induce vomiting. So alcohol does some strange things to the body, and like you said, there's bound to be a time when you or someone you know is going to need to take care of someone else who's been drinking. So here's some things that you should do. So you should give them water, because like you said, alcohol does dehydrate you. You should keep them warm. So alcohol actually lowers the core body temperature. So even though it's hot here in Texas, let's say it's summertime and you're down at the river hanging out, somebody who's been drinking might actually be hypothermic. And that Bacchus maneuver, not a dance move. It's actually a position that you could put someone in so that they could rest safely after they've been drinking. Things that you shouldn't do include inducing vomiting, like you guessed correctly. It actually doesn't do anything to lower the amount of alcohol in your bloodstream, and it can damage your esophagus. You also don't want to give that person medications of any kind, whether it's just Tylenol or their regular prescriptions. There's just too many possibilities for some negative interactions. And so it's best to just take meds the next day when completely sober. All right, Skylar, great job. I can't believe you've gotten everything correct so far. That's amazing. Are you ready for that final round?
Yeah, Suzanne, I'm rocking it. I want to finish the game and be a healthy Aggie.
All right, well, let's continue, Skylar. Your next question for $125,000. Green Dot is the university's bystander intervention program for violence prevention. Which of the following represents the 3 Ds of the Green Dot method? A, divide, defend, deal. B, don't, do, distract. C, direct, delegate, distract. Or D, distance, duck, dodge.
Wow, throwing in some dodgeball terms with answer D, huh? Well, that eliminates one. Okay, I know I've heard about the Green Dot program here at Texas A&M. I think bystander intervention is really important, right? I mean, I don't want to see any of my friends or classmates victimized. And I think all of us should do something about it. The one that makes the most sense is C. So that's what I'm gonna go with. C, direct, delegate, distract. Final answer.
Skylar, you are correct. That could have been a tough one, but yes, the 3 Ds of the Green Dot method include distract, delegate, and direct approaches.
I am so good with distraction. I mean, as you can tell, I can distract even the best of them. And I mean, I can be direct with someone if I need to be, but delegate, what does that mean?
So delegate essentially means that you get someone else to help you in that situation. That might be somebody official like university police or college station police, or it just might be somebody else who's nearby the situation. And that person would be able to step in and help prevent that violence from escalating. Aggies take care of other Aggies, and we do not tolerate violence on our campus or in our community. When you get that gut feeling that something isn't right, step in and stand up by doing any one of these green dots.
Is there a way I can learn more or practice these green dots?
Of course, Skylar. I'm so glad you asked. Green Dot is an important part of Texas A&M culture, and we encourage all students to take this training, which Health Promotion hosts multiple times a semester. They're free for you to attend, and you'll be helping to make Aggieland a safer place.
Awesome.
All right, are you ready for your next question, Skylar?
I was born ready.
Okay, in this question, we're talking about consent for sexual activity. For $250,000, which of the following is not true about consent? A, consent is freely given. B, consent is irreversible. C, consent is required by all participating parties. Or D, consent is specific and enthusiastic.
Consent is obviously about making sure others are okay with what's taking place, especially when we're talking about intimacy. Consent should be freely given, that makes sense. It shouldn't be something that's coerced or forced. Consent is irreversible. Well, that doesn't make sense because you can always withdraw your consent. I mean, if you get a whiff of some bad breath, you can definitely change your mind and not kiss them. So that might be it, but let's see, let's go through all the answers. Yes, consent is required of all parties, and yes, consent should be very specific. And of course, who would want to be with someone whose consent wasn't enthusiastic? Whatever. Suzanne, I think it's B. Consent is irreversible, which is not true. Final answer.
You're right. B is the correct answer. Great train of thought there, Skylar. If you need a good acronym, remember that consent is like fries. It is freely given, it is reversible, informed, enthusiastic, and specific. Remember that by definition, consent is a clear, voluntary, positive, ongoing, verbal or nonverbal agreement that all parties have agreed to the sexual activity that's about to happen. It's really important and responsible for us to make sure that our partners are comfortable with whatever it is that we're going to be doing. And that's part of a healthy relationship and part of being a healthy Aggie. All right, Skylar, we just have a few more questions left. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here's the next one. It's for $500,000. What would an Aggie learn in a stand-up workshop? A, how to help someone who has experienced trauma. B, Aggie traditions. C, bystander intervention strategies. Or D, how to get involved in a student organization.
All of these things are great. I mean, our Aggie traditions bring us closer together, and we already talked about how important bystander intervention is.
True.
And since student organizations are definitely a great way to get connected, I think the answer is A, how to help someone who has experienced trauma. Final answer.
Skylar, you're right. The stand-up workshop is a homegrown Aggie-exclusive workshop that teaches you skills needed to support someone who's experienced trauma. The Step In Stand Up campaign at Texas A&M encourages our campus to step in with that green dot bystander intervention strategies like we talked about earlier to reduce power-based personal violence in our community, as well as to stand up through this stand-up workshop against that kind of violence by supporting survivors. So there's lots of great ways to keep the Aggie spirit strong and support one another. As a student here, you have rights and resources that can help you along the way. Many of these resources can be found on the Stand Up website and at title9.tamu.edu or in your new Aggie workbook. Okay, Skylar, your last question. It's for $1 million. Can you handle it? Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready, Freddie.
Okay, based upon national data, who is at increased risk of experiencing interpersonal violence? A, individuals between the ages of 18 and 34. B, women identifying as Black or African American or as Native American or Alaska Native. C, individuals who identify as part of the LGBTQ+ community. Or D, individuals with disabilities.
This is a really tough one, Suzanne. I think I'm gonna have to phone a friend, Dr. Krisafi. She's the coordinator for interpersonal violence prevention at Texas A&M and health promotion.
All right, well, let's get Dr. Krisafi on the line.
Hello?
Hey, Dr. Krisafi, I need your help on this game show, How to Be a Healthy Aggie.
Hey, Skylar. I'm watching you live and you're doing great. This is so exciting that I'm on TV with you right now. So, on a more serious note, I can see the question you're calling about, and I can tell you that all of these answers are correct. Even though power-based personal violence can affect anyone, regardless of how they identify or where they live, evidence-based research has shown that some individuals and groups have a higher risk of experiencing violence based upon individual, relationship, community, and even societal factors. And all of the groups listed in this question do have statistically higher rates of victimization, unfortunately. So I would go with all of the above on this question for sure. So great, I'm glad that I could help today, and good luck with the rest of the round.
Thanks for your help, Dr. Krisafi. Okay, Suzanne, I can't pick one. Dr. Krisafi is the most knowledgeable person I know about interpersonal violence prevention. And if she says there's no wrong answer here, then there's no wrong answer here.
Whew, Skylar, you're absolutely correct. You've just won $1 million. All of those are correct answers, and we did that to make a powerful statement. Like Dr. Kristofi shared, power-based personal violence does affect all people to some degree. And we know that unfortunately, Aggies do experience that on our campus. If you see or hear about an act of violence, harassment, or discrimination on our campus on Texas A&M University property, there are several ways to report it. All of these resources are listed in your new Aggie workbook for easy reference. All right, Skylar, you made it to $1 million. I can't believe it, but we have a bonus question for you. All right, what kind of tobacco use policy does Texas A&M University have? A, you can use tobacco anywhere you want. B, you can use tobacco in your residence hall, but not in academic buildings. C, you can use tobacco outside of buildings only. Or D, you cannot use tobacco anywhere on campus.
Suzanne, you know smoking's bad for your lungs, right?
I think I've heard that, yeah. I mean, I guess putting anything other than ambient air in your lungs is probably not a good idea, but I am no expert.
Well, I'm going to venture a guess here, but I think it's D. You can't use tobacco anywhere on campus.
Final answer. You're correct. You may not smoke, vape, or use any kind of nicotine delivery product on campus. So this includes vapes, Juuls, cigarettes, and smokeless tobacco like snuff, and anything similar. If you're looking for tobacco cessation resources, though, health promotion can actually help.
So, how'd I do? How much money did I win?
You know, Skylar, it's immeasurable. We cannot put a price on your good health, so welcome to Aggieland.
I'll take that, Suzanne. I'll take it.
All right, well, I hope that you've enjoyed winning some knowledge as well as learning a little bit more about how we can support your health and well-being here in Aggieland. This program was brought to you by Health Promotion, part of the offices of the Dean of Student Life. In Health Promotion, our services encompass a wide range of topics, including fitness, nutrition, stress relief, alcohol and other drugs, sexual health, and interpersonal violence prevention, among others. We offer body composition analysis, individual consultations, programs and presentations for student organizations, free resources and information, as well as we're pretty great people to hang out with. We also have an excellent peer education group who helps us to spread awareness on campus. And as we've shared throughout this time, there are several great resources on campus that can help you stay healthy. All you have to do is use us. Know that you are not on this journey alone. Want to get involved? Check out our website, hp.tamu.edu, and get involved in those health and wellness initiatives on campus. And with that, congratulations, Skylar, and congratulations to all of you joining us here at Texas A&M in the fall.
Thanks and gig 'em.